Restrictions lifting, why Raleigh Water is getting rid of some restrictions now, and why other towns and cities may not be so quick to act.
Milder temperatures and sinking humidity, how long this pleasant weather lasts before storms return.
And many parents' worst fears coming true for some in Wake County. Pictures of their children being used to make AI pornography. Now a teen is charged with 10 felonies of sexual exploitation. But the law is still struggling to keep up with this new type of crime. We'll explain why.
Let's get started, shall we? We got the water restrictions going away. We've got to look at one of the Triangle's biggest success stories and artificial intelligence making some nightmares come true. We're going to dive into all of it tonight here at 7 o'clock. We want you to be a part of it. You know that. Send us an email. Let us know what is on your mind. In depth at WRAL.com. We love hearing from you. Help us to drive this coverage. First up tonight, Raleigh's water restrictions, they're going away. They're out the door. We've seen so much rain this month that Falls Lake, the levels there have jumped about 2 feet. It's great news. WRAL's Eric Miller is joining us live right now from the lake. Eric, the drought's not over, so we should make that point. What comes next in this process?
Well, Dan, there is a lot that is happening here and has been happening here. You think it was just about 3 weeks ago when Raleigh city leaders were issuing some pretty dire warnings about where the water supply was. Now, take a look at this here behind me. This is 84% full. If you take a look at this video from Sky 5, that'll give you another better perspective. Raleigh Water says there is more than enough water in that shot to drop current restrictions on August 3rd. The utility says the delay between now and then is to allow them to make some final calculations, looking at demand and looking at supply. Spokesperson Ed Buchan says they're very appreciative of people following water restrictions up until now. It's helped them get to this point, and they do have some key lessons they're taking away from this drought.
One of the key elements here is getting out ahead of it and starting messaging and drought restrictions early. In this business, you tend to be very conservative, and there's a good reason for that.
Now, again, we are still in a drought, so Buchan says people shouldn't go crazy when these restrictions lift on August 3rd, and they are still in place until the 3rd, so you can still get in trouble if you start breaking the rules before then.
Yeah, you know what? On that point, why don't we get into some of the specifics? Because Raleigh Water, they are able to make this change, but other major utilities in our area, that counts Durham and Fayetteville, are not. Why is that? What is the difference there? Well, Dan, essentially, Raleigh has won the water lottery. You think about where a lot of this water has been coming from. It's these scattered severe thunderstorms. A lot of those have lined up right here. They've dumped a lot of water into Falls Lake, into the lakes that Raleigh Water is pulling from. You think about Durham, you think about Fayetteville. They are pulling from different lakes and different rivers. And while those utilities tell me things are headed in the right direction, they have not gone far enough yet for them to drop restrictions. So if you are in these other towns, you do still need to follow those restrictions that are still in place. All right, important distinction there. Thank you, Eric, for that live report tonight from the lake. We want to move now to a story that is happening here at 7 o'clock. The co-owners of a wedding photography company accused of taking money but not handing over the photos now face criminal charges. We've been on this story for quite some time here on WRAL. Brian Schrader in the Live Center now with this update.
Keeley and 5 on Your Side have been following the story of Holly Christina Photography for some time now, and the former owners now are facing criminal charges over in Forsyth County, which is the Winston-Salem area. According to the arrest warrants, Holly and Christopher Askew each are facing a charge of 1 count of obtaining property by false pretenses. According to those documents, prosecutors say that they signed a contract to take pictures of a wedding that was supposed to happen in April of this year. They accepted almost $5,700 from the bride, and then Holly Christina Photography closed, and that money has not been refunded. This is the first known criminal case against the Askews. Several couples have told WRAL that they lost thousands of dollars when the company closed and they never got their money back. The Attorney General's office says that more than 200 people have filed complaints and reported losing a combined $1 million for wedding pictures and videos that have never fully been received. According to court documents, the ACUs were released on $20,000 bond yesterday.
The saga intensifies. Okay, thank you, Brian. Want to get you caught up now. These are the 5 things you should know tonight. Raleigh police are investigating after someone shot into a Wingstop today. This is Sky 5 footage from New Bern Avenue earlier. Employees were actually working inside the shop at the time of this shooting. No one was hurt, fortunately. And at this time, police have not made any arrests. A child went to the hospital after getting rescued from the water at Fantasy Lake Adventure Park in Wake County. Sky 5 over the scene there shortly after emergency crews arrived. It's not clear exactly what happened or how that child is doing tonight. Safety improvements are finished now at one Raleigh intersection that has seen deadly crashes over the years. It's at Forestville and Lewisburg Road. People now turn on different spots, and there's a marked area for drivers to make U-turns. Leaders say that this is just going to help reduce serious crashes and make left turns safer there. Drivers that frequent that area, I'm sure, are happy. North Carolina's new state budget is already getting a rewrite. Senators approving some changes this morning that go well beyond expected technical fixes, adding millions for sports and making new shifts in state government. Big deals. The bill is now headed to the House. We'll stay on top of it for you, let you know what happens. The Federal Reserve held interest rates steady today. This is the 5th straight meeting that the central bank has decided not to change anything. Many economists expected a rate hike. They expect another one to come at the Fed's meeting next month. 50 years ago, one Triangle company set the standard for tech companies in our area and around the globe. SAS was founded in an NC State basement. Today, it is a pillar in the Cary community. WRAL is airing a special presentation tonight about the company's place in history. WRAL's Kristen Severance spoke to the CEO and founder, Dr. Jim Goodnight. I asked her what we should expect from tonight's program. All right, Kristen, my first question might sound a little funny. What exactly does SAS do?
I don't think it's a funny question at all. We've all heard of the company, but I don't think everyone knows exactly what they do. So all of the major financial institutions, all of the big banks, they use SAS for things like credit card, fraud, stopping fraud. All of the major pharmaceutical companies use SAS. SAS is also very big in manufacturing. So, this is a huge company.
And you are talking to the founder who started the whole thing now 50 years later. Probably interesting to see him look back on it. I'm wondering what was your impression of him? How did that interview go?
Yeah, we sat down with Dr. Jim Goodnight, such a nice person. We talked about all of these different topics. We wanted to talk about the impact of SAS on places like Cary, on places like the Triangle and the state. Very humble. He's a very humble person. He does not like taking credit for some of these things.
That said, they do deserve, I guess, some credit. There's probably things that people don't realize kind of have the SAS ripple effect in their lives. What are some of the things that you were able to find out?
A lot of impact, workplace benefits. SAS really pioneered some of the things that big companies now offer. Things like childcare, fitness center, and we really talk about the origins of that and why those things were offered. Really interesting. Also, just the impact on the tech industry. This company started in Cary. I told you all the industries that use it, and now North Carolina is known, and Raleigh specifically, as a place for innovation, as really a technology hub.
All right, we have the interview coming up shortly. Thank you, Kristen. And you can watch WRAL Presents SAS at 50 right after this newscast. It airs at 7:30 right here on WRAL. Artificial intelligence keeps getting better and better and more powerful and more dangerous. More and more, we are seeing it exploited in terrifying ways. A Wake County teen is now facing 10 charges accused of using AI to create sexually explicit pictures of other kids. We're going to talk about why the law makes these cases complicated and what's being done about it. Then tonight at 11 o'clock, people don't have power now, almost 24 hours after last night's storm. We're going to check in on the damage and see how much longer they could be waiting for the lights to come back on. Mike?
And it was this time last night we were deep in a tornado warning. Now all is quiet thanks to our front. High pressure is building in. How long the calm weather lasts before storms return, I'll show you in the forecast coming up.
Some of our worst fears about artificial intelligence are happening, and it's happening fast, so fast that the law can't really keep up. Right now, a Wake County teen is accused of using AI to create sexually explicit images, pictures of underage girls, students. He faces 10 felony counts of sexual exploitation of a minor. This is a story that you might remember first broke last week. You may also remember that at the time, it was just 9 charges. As of today, it turned to 10. This 10th charge wasn't counted at first because of a technicality in the law. You see, basically, prosecutors weren't sure if that 10th victim actually qualified as sexual exploitation. And wait until you find out why. WRAL's Alex Littlehales explains.
This is how the state defines second-degree sexual exploitation of a minor. It includes instances of, quote, recording, photographing, developing, duplicating, or distributing sexual material. But this is a key line right here. Quote, engaged in sexual activity.
We confirmed with attorneys and government experts on this. That means nudity alone may not be enough to constitute a sexual exploitation of a minor charge.
Joseph Hyde, a professor of public law and government at UNC, told WRAL, quote, display of breasts alone would not constitute sexual activity for purposes of sexual exploitation statutes. So what many would find sexually explicit may not be the case in the eyes of the law.
All right, there you have it. Thank you to Alex for that report. Now, again, I wish this case was some one-off, some anomaly, but it is not. We have seen a lot of cases like this, and you don't have to search the country, look around the map to find these. They're happening right here at home in North Carolina. In Charlotte in 2024, a child psychiatrist was sentenced to 40 years in prison. He was convicted of taking pictures of children and using AI to turn them into pornography. Here in the Triangle, a man was accused of creating AI-generated porn using the pictures of 28 NC State sorority girls. He then posted those images on a porn site with the girls' real names. And would you believe that he was only charged with a misdemeanor? Technically, it was misdemeanor stalking, which also seems a little vague for such a specific accusation. How could that be? Well, because the law that would have made his crimes a felony wasn't in effect yet. That was back in October of 2024 when that case took shape. And the law didn't take effect for 2 months after that, in December of 2024. At the time, the Wake County DA told us that's just how this works. It takes time for legislation to catch up with what is actually happening in the real world. In other words, the law is not evolving fast enough, and this technology is moving at lightning speed, accessible to anyone with the internet. You don't need some special computer or expensive software. It is being used for free on platforms like X. There was an uproar this year over Grok. That's the AI chatbot on X. A New York Times analysis found Grok was used to make almost 2 million sexually explicit photos of women in a 9-day span. A bunch of attorneys general got involved in all this, including North Carolina's. They wrote a letter to the company demanding that there be guardrails in place to prevent this content from being made. In their words, it was about basic dignity. The city of Baltimore filed a lawsuit saying this technology violates consumer protections. A bunch of other countries have taken similar actions. I do want to specify, though, look, it is not all the Wild West out there. ChatGPT, they won't make images involving explicit content. Google Gemini and Adobe Firefly, they have similar rules. The problem is we don't really have a clear rule on what is explicit and what is not. Some states have tried to define it. Minnesota passed a law banning websites from nudification technology. But in response to this, XAI, that's the company behind Grok, sued the state of Minnesota. They claim the law goes too far. Now, they're not arguing that AI should be used to make porn. That's not what they're saying. They're just disagreeing on how it defines intimate body parts, which is a big part of that law. Now, you're probably thinking, it's pretty obvious what an intimate body part is, but it's really not that simple. It never is when we're writing laws, especially laws that involve our right to free speech. It is a right, after all. And how we police the internet, that's another hot button issue. It's another reason this process is so slow. How do you fix one thing without breaking something else? That is the debate. And it's an important debate to have. We should be having it. But while those arguments happen, people, kids, are becoming victims. Let me know what you think. AI doesn't seem to be going anywhere. That means this conversation won't be going anywhere either. So please send us an email, indepth@WRAL.com. Tell us what is on your mind, and we'll go in depth.
Well, last night's cold front is making a difference. Of course, we have more in our reservoirs from the past rains, but also with the drier air coming in behind last night's cold front, that will allow morning lows tomorrow to dip a little bit more. Roxborough 61 in the morning, Oxford 62, Roanoke Rapids 63, Sanford 63, and with even more dry air coming in tomorrow, temperatures Friday morning, some of these locations may be 58, 59. And wouldn't that be nice for the final day of July? So let's talk about what we've done for the month of July and for the summer to date. July, 12.16 inches of rain. That's 7.7 above where we should be for the month of July. The wettest July on record out at RDU, and summer to date, it's the wettest summer we've seen, 15.72. How things change in such a short period of time, but we're still holding on to a little deficit for the year and a almost 7-inch deficit from last year, and the drought does continue. Now, we'll have the new update tomorrow. This is last week's. We saw the exceptional drought whittle away. I believe some of this area, especially the severe drought, may fall back into moderate drought during the day tomorrow. That's just a speculation on my part. We'll see if that actually happens. And we'll probably see more of an impact in the following week's drought status because we have rain in the forecast that looks like it will be rather significant, perhaps. The way the models are setting up makes it look like we could be in the sweet spot for showers and storms. So here's what Futurecast looks like tomorrow at 5 o'clock. We have a big ridge of high pressure that at times has pushed east and then gone back out west. Well, this one won't do that because we have a trough of low pressure that will develop in the upper Midwest. And soon after Friday, it'll dig into the south and become what we call a cutoff low. It's cut off from the main jet stream, so it just kind of wobbles in the atmosphere. And what it does, since it'll be seated off to the west, to the right of the upper level low, that's where you have all your rising motion, lots of moisture coming in from the Gulf, and you can see how many areas will be impacted by showers and storms Sunday evening at 8 o'clock. From the Gulf through the southeast, the mid-Atlantic, and the northeast. And with the upper level low still sitting off to the west, we take a look at Monday at 8 o'clock. Scattered showers and thunderstorms upon the area. Tuesday, the upper level low is still there. Scattered showers and storms still over us. Likewise for Wednesday, likewise for Thursday, and probably Friday as well. So from what we're seeing in the models as of right now, next week could be rather wet. So we would continue to whittle away at the drought. Perfect scenario, and it may end up being where we don't need a tropical system to get out of our drought if this trend continues, and the rainfall outlook through the middle part of August still shows above normal rainfall, and that would certainly be great. So for the state over the next 7 days, quite a bit of rain is possible. We see this purple, it's up to 1.5 inches to 2 inches of rain. So again, rain here will probably really be needed starting Sunday into next week. And you can see that reflected in the 7-day forecast. Initially, not all that bad. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, it's dry, it's less humid, it's not hot. The normal high is 91. We don't see that. We're a little below normal. And then with the rain in the forecast Sunday, Monday, Tuesday of next week, and right now pretty decent shots at rain. Highs will stay in the 80s, morning lows in the 70s, and it will get rather humid at that point. But for the next few days, Dan, the humidity may not be all that bad.
We'll enjoy it. Thank you, Mike. So these are always some of the coolest moments in college sports when one of the team's walk-ons earns their scholarship. Someone on the NC State women's basketball team got her moment, and it's your one last thing after the break. One last thing tonight. One of the best things about college sports is the walk-on story. It's especially cool when it's with a scholarship, and this just happened for an NC State women's basketball player.
Tuition, and then room and board, I think it's worth about another $12,000, so about $30,000. You got that on hand? You don't? You gonna be able to get that? You're not? Ah, crap, I'm gonna throw it away then, all right? No bill, you're on scholarship.
He slow played it, didn't he? Audrey Erickson, she grew up in Cary. She went to Green Level High. She started her collegiate career at Boston University. She was a 2-time captain there. Still, she chose to transfer to NC State and walk onto the team there. She told us she just wanted a chance to focus on basketball here, no matter her role. That role is now as a scholarship athlete. Congratulations to her. How about that bait and switch from Coach Moore? It's pretty good. It was so good that Audrey really wasn't quite sure which direction it was headed.
I think we gave the second number out because at first I wasn't really sure what was happening. I just saw my name with the bell and I was like, this cannot be good. I was like, everyone's here, stuff like that. But when it started to like put two and two together, I kind of smirked a little rather than, at first it was definitely a little bit of a panic because I was like, oh my gosh, what do I owe? And he's gonna make me pay right here.
It's funny. Not paying right there, not paying again. Again, this all happened in just a few weeks that she was able to accomplish this. But you see her reaction, the reaction from her teammates, so amazing. They went crazy. Audrey says that's what truly is sticking with her.
When I see that video, I skip past the beginning and I go just to that part, just because like everybody just has pure joy on their face for me. And even after they had all congratulated me, I got a text from like every single one of them. And that just to me, I've known these girls for 4 weeks now, and the fact that I'm already this close with them in the locker room, on the court and stuff like that, it just makes me very excited for this year.
Dedication, hard work, commitment, those are things that she clearly has done throughout her career, has shown in just a couple of weeks at NC State. Again, she went to Green Level High, and when she was there, she's an all-time leader in basically every stat category, about as decorated as they come. So she knows how to play basketball. One thing, though, still on her list, she's never played in an NCAA tournament. She's looking forward to hopefully crossing that one off this year. Great to have you with us tonight. Keep reminding you, send in emails to us, in-depth at WRAL.com. It is what drives this newscast. We answer your questions. We listen to the topics you think are interesting. This is your local news show. It's about the things happening in this community. Be part of the conversation. We are listening. Have a great night. Thanks for being with us here at 7 o'clock.